Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Byrne from DBpsychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. So this morning I'm going to be talking about this week's blog, which is this week's blog. It's all about 5 styles of parenting. So these would be the methods with which you, as a parent, would you would raise your children, you would discipline them, etc., and how you decide how you're going to raise them. Now, first off, I want to say that this, parenting is the hardest job in the world. It absolutely is, hands down. It is extremely difficult. The kids don't come with a manual, and you are responsible for this child for a very long time. And even, I can say as a grandmother, no matter how old they get, you'll still be their mother or their father. You'll still be their parent. No matter how old they get, you'll still be there for them. Now, the blog, very importantly, I want to say that this morning's blog is not to be used against somebody else. It is an informational blog only. It is to make you informed about how you parent, maybe how your parents parented you, because maybe you don't have children yet, but you want to understand why and what happened to you as a child. And it can help you, change yourself. You can only ever, I have to say that you can only ever change yourself if you're trying to change another human being. That's codependency. It doesn't work. Okay, you're wasting your time. Okay, you really are wasting your time, so don't even try going there. And nobody really can tell you what to do with your life and how you're going to run it. But if you have better information, I always say, if you have the information, you are empowered. So with that in mind, there's one other point with the blog I would like to make. Every time you see the word parent or parenting in the blog, I have them highlighted, and they link out to a whole range of blogs that I have written for parents. So do click out and have a look at them. Open new tabs on your desktop or whatever, and have a look and see, at read up the other blogs as well. The more information you have, the more power and the better things can go for you as an adult and as a parent. So, parenting and the parenting styles that we use. You have to understand that parenting, of course, is going to impact their physical and mental health. I would outline the different, how that happens and how different impact them. And I've really listed out. If you look down, I've listed out each style. I've done 5. I've only done 5, but if you go down through them, I have a number of points as to how different styles, what they do, how they will impact the child, and then how they impact the child as an adult, what the consequences are for us as adults, because of how we were parents. So do check it out. It's at www.DBpsychologyservices.com. Now, the best method that they say, research has told us, is, and I have to get this right because it's there's 2 very close to one another. The authoritative, the TIV one, okay, the TIV, not the authoritarian, the AN one. That's not the right one, and I'll come to that in a second. But have a look at the authoritative one, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, is considered the best people. Considered the best blog. Okay, the head isn't with it this morning. I was rushed. So, why is it considered the best one? Parents that parent this way tend to allow their child to, suffer the consequences age appropriate. Okay, I'm talking about age appropriate for children. If there are consequences, if a child doesn't want to do its homework, the parent will of course try and get the child to do the homework. But if they, at the end of the day, if they don't do the homework, the parent will allow the child to, suffer those consequences. It's not a case of the hands-off parent, I'm not doing the homework with you. They will, of course, encourage them. They will explore with the child, different possibilities. and they will talk more to the child. They will get the child to reason things out for themselves, with their guidance. And as the child ages, they will step back a bit more. Now, I've listed out a whole lot of other ways in which these people, parent their child. So, do check that out. Now, most parents will move or oscillate between different styles of parenting. More so if you're using one of the other 4 types of parenting styles. You may oscillate between being, too lenient and then too strict. And kids really do need consistency. That's what they need. They need your love. They need you to be there. They don't need materialism. They just want you to be there through thick and thin, to know that they're loved, and that you'll be consistent in how you deal with them. That's anybody really. That is all anybody really wants. And at the end of the day, if you can put your hand in your heart and you can say, I did the best I could, that's good enough. All right. Don't get caught up. If you are panicking, if you're reading this blog and you are panicking and you are feeling guilty and all of that, no. Stop. Please stop. Because you're probably the parent who's doing it right in the first place. All right. We all feel guilty. We all feel worried as a parent. So if you are feeling overly guilty and overly anxious about this, please take a step back, let the blog go, and know that you're probably the one parent that is doing their very best for their child, and you're doing a good enough job. You're doing a great job. So, as I said, it's really only an informative blog. Now, to go on to the other 4 styles, well, we have the authoritarian, and I said that's the drill sergeant. And we usually think of that type of style as a very Victorian style. They are, it's all about demands and commands. Now, instantly, do it my way. There's my way, the highway. And as a result, the kids tend to develop self-esteem problems. They will definitely, they would develop anger problems, probably anger towards other people in authority, and definitely towards the parent that is being very strict. They will definitely, develop that. They go on then to, of course, develop good lying skills, because they don't want to be blamed, because it's so strict, they don't want to be blamed. So they will develop, good lying skills, and they will probably end up developing addiction issues and mental health problems. The other way children can go with this type of parenting is they can be the overachiever. Now there is other children, and I'll come to it at the end with the uninvolved parent. But kids that are overachieving with this type of parent, there is no sense of joy for them. Being in school is no sense of joy, because it has to be the constant A. B isn't good enough. And as you can imagine, with a child like that, their self-esteem is very low. They need help. They really do need help. Now, the next style of parenting is the permissive parent. So the permissive parent, not quite the uninvolved parent, and so I've listed them out. There's the permissive parent and the helicopter parent. They're kind of the two in between the authoritarian and the far swing, which would be uninvolved parent. The permissive parent would set rules, but they're rarely enforced. So if the child says, "Oh, I promise I won't do it again," then they'll usually let the child off. They have the attitude of kids will be kids, or boys will be boys, or girls will be girls. And the child then goes on to learn, well, they'll have have self-esteem issues. They'll be unhappy as adults probably. Again, they can develop addiction problems, health problems in particular, because there are no limits set. And behavioural issues in school, and maybe behavioural issues as adults. There are no limits set at home, so there are no consequences. So therefore, things can be taken up a notch. Every time it can go up a notch with this type of parenting. So you have to see, well, where would that take it as an adult, where would this child become, or what would happen to this child as they develop into adulthood? And as I said, health issues, addiction issues, possibly, behavioural issues. There could be consequences with the law, things like that. The helicopter parent. Most parents think of helicopter parent. I think it has been misnamed in the press as being, the one that's hovering over them, but it's like they're referring to it more like the tiger parent, who is, making sure the child achieves and things like that. And that is not what a helicopter parent really is. Yes, the parent hovers over the child, but it is true. With the other type of helicopter parent that you hear talked about in the press, they're the ones that are more strict. They're really referring to that drill sergeant, the authoritarian type of parent. In this case, the helicopter parent is somebody who, rescues the child from any possible consequences that could happen to them. Everything. The child cannot face any consequence at all. And in this case, the child gets the message that they are incapable, and they are weak, and they, of course, then develop poor self-esteem, self-worth issues. They have difficulty expressing any type of opinion or even forming an opinion of their own. And, you can see where that could lead as adults, what could happen as an adult. They will, definitely, develop self-esteem and physical health problems, which will go on and into adulthood. Now, the last type of parenting, which would be the uninvolved parent. This is the parent we think of who, and mostly probably associated with somebody who themselves have mental health or addiction issues. They, and that isn't the whole case. Sometimes the parent is so busy trying just to put food on the table that they just can't watch their kids. So, think about what's going on in the background of these people before you judge them, all right? Uninvolved parents tend not to know where their children are or whom the children are with. They have very little knowledge. They're not involved in getting their homework done with them or helping them in any way. The kids probably don't take part in activities after school. If they do, it's tend to be, somebody has taken them under their wing, an aunt or a grandparent, or somebody from outside the family has taken them under the wing and is getting them involved in things just to help that child along. Again, the child, in this case, there are two possibilities with this type of child. They will go the poor self-esteem. That will definitely be across the board here with these children, poor self-esteem. But they will have poor school performance because nobody is helping them. They'll have behavioural issues within the school. That's probably why they will come to the attention of the school and school authorities. They will go on probably to develop, again, mental health or addiction problems as adults. Now, the other type of child that can develop in this is because, and particularly with an eldest child in a family like this, would be the over-responsible child. They would be looking after their younger siblings. They will also, they'll be highly responsible, and they will strive to do the best they can in school for the simple reason they are trying to get out. They are trying to better themselves. They're trying to get out of the situation in which they are. So it's completely different from a child with an authoritarian parent. And that, as I said, the child with the authoritarian parent, there is no joy in school because grades are everything. The A is everything. With this child, every little achievement they have in school is highly important to them, and highly important to them getting out of the situation that they're in as adults. They're planning ahead. They're planning their escape. They're also, school can be very much a safe haven for this child. So, you have to think that things can go one of two ways, as I said, with these children. They can follow the parents' route and go down into addiction and have issues that way, or they'll escape. They'll escape the poor background. So these aren't set in stone. I have to say that to you, that you can see now where, somebody could oscillate, as I said at the start, between one style and another style. And, it's not set in stone just because your parent is the way they were, how you will be as an adult, because you get a choice as an adult. As I've said, with the uninvolved parent, children can go one of two ways. So as adults, we get to change. We get to choose what we want to do. And that's why I've given you this blog. I've given you, as I said at the start, I gave you the blog as an informational tool to, see, well, how was I parented? How did that impact on me? And where can I take it in the future? What can I do to help myself now as an adult? So it's something to think about. And I hope you got something out of it. And I'll just say good morning to my usual listeners. And particularly to Deirdre and Colette, always on. Kim's always on. And Jennifer's always on every single week. We're regularly clockwork. And thank you so much to you all. And I'll talk to you all next week. I think retirement planning is what's out on Monday. And it's more from the emotional side of retirement planning. So I can't comment on financial, getting yourself financially ready for retirement, but I can talk about getting yourself emotionally ready. And there are stages of emotional readiness for retirement. So I'll talk about that next Saturday, and I'll see you all then. Have a lovely weekend and good morning.